So also your website tells that, and you're raising some kind of charity funds for diabetes cure by selling some nail polish or different methods. So tell us your experience on that, and and your great charity that you're doing.
I like all different. I mean, I'm thrilled that there's the JDRF, that there's the ADA, the Diabetes Research Institute. I'm thrilled Dr. Faustman that's out in Boston. I'm thrilled for all. I wish everybody well, and I hope somebody finds a cure. I don't care who it is. I just want somebody to find it. But I'm supporting the Diabetes Research Institute with this charity, with this fundraiser. Last October, I saw an ad in a magazine that was for pink nail polish, and it said at the bottom of the ad, it said a portion of this sale will be donated to
Cancer.
whatever. Yeah,
Cancer or something. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I was like, well, why can't somebody do that for diabetes? So I called a couple nail polish companies. I mean, I'm in LA, and there's a big company that's right down the street, and I called them and I said, hey, I'm local, I can come meet with you. I was all charged up and said, I have this great idea. And they said, do you work for a diabetes corporation or a diabetes foundation? And I said, or they said, do you represent a diabetes foundation? And I said, no, I represent a child that has type 1 diabetes. I'm her mom. And they said, well, we don't really deal with individuals. And I was like, okay. So I decided, if a company isn't going to listen to me, I'll just go do it myself. So, of course, then I got on Google and I found out how I could make this nail polish. Here it is. It's for hip one.
Uh-huh.
So I made my own, and I called the silver one is Tips of Steel because the diabetes awareness ribbon is silver. And then I think everybody's seen that blue circle that's the diabetes. So the other shade is blue, and that's called True Blue Hope because I have hope that the Diabetes Research Institute will find the cure. And that's where I'm giving $10 per sale to the Diabetes Research Institute. And it's been going great. I've been, people write to me and tell me how much they love it, or they're so glad that, that it's kind of starting conversations. I always have my nails painted blue, my toenails anyway, and so people will say, oh, I like your blue toenails. And I'm like, oh, thanks, that's the diabetes awareness, color. And it just starts a conversation, and I educate, whenever and wherever I can.
Though it's like, so is she using her insulin pump right now, or she? Okay, so in that case, how are you teaching her to handle the insulin pump?
She wears an Omnipod, which is, the little thing that's just, we liked the tubeless feature, so that's the only pump that we really looked at. And we got trained for an hour and a half, we put it on, and she's been live ever since, and we've loved it ever since. It's been gives us so much more flexibility, and I think discretion for her. I mean, when she goes to school, it's just, someone aims, you have a little remote control. It's like changing the channel on TV. You just go boop, boop, and you push this button and it starts giving insulin, and no one has to know what is, not that it's anything to be ashamed of, but I think that kids feel, self-conscious enough when they're at school as it is, and you don't want anything to point out your differences any more than, and I worry about that. But so we've started on the Omnipod, and we love it, and she sees me entering, like I said, she gets out her little calculator and helps, figure out what the total carbs are, and then she sees me enter it into her PDM, her, little remote, and, she sees that it figures out how much insulin, because of the, it's all pre-programmed, so it figures out how much insulin she needs. And then she knows that she has to eat whatever we just gave her insulin for, because, you get too much insulin and not enough food, then she's going to have a low. So it's, we talk about it all the time so that she's aware of what's going on, so that eventually, as heavy of a weight as it is, I don't mind. I like having the responsibility. I'm trying to train her to take on that responsibility, but it's a big weight to put on little shoulders, and I know eventually I'm going to have to pass the torch, and it's the best thing for her. But and I want her to know what all is happening when that time comes.
So I know she's a kid, like 4 years old, and this is too much to handle for her at this age. So did she anytime feel kind of a loss of freedom or something like that when she was with her friends or with any group? Or
occasionally, she'll kind of just seem annoyed that she's got to come over and test. I have to break up the fun and say, okay, Charlotte, we need to test. Come over, give me a finger, which I know eventually that's gonna. I don't want to say that to her when maybe give me a finger isn't not necessarily that what I want to say to her when she's in her teens. I might not want to see the finger, but anyway, I think that Charlotte is pretty okay with it, and we were just on vacation with her cousins, and they thought that her finger poke, her testing, was the coolest thing, and they always wanted to come over and see, and they actually wanted, a couple of them were brave enough that they let me try out they let me poke their finger, and her aunt and her uncle and her grandpa all, kind of, so it made her feel special, and that made my day, because it's, I don't want somebody to go, ew, or what are you, and I know that she's going to come across that, but when people are supportive, and that's why we try to educate, it's not something that you can get, it's not contagious, it's not anything to be afraid of, it's just, like I said, it's just her thing, everybody's got something.
Tell us some of the things that you learned hard way as a diabetic mom. The lows are scary. We've, thank God, knock wood, have never had to use the glucagon, the big red thing that you get. We've never had to use that, and I'm very thankful for that. But we have had a couple scary lows where she was like starting to pass out, and we had to rub the honey on her gums just to try to get something into her system, into her bloodstream. The lows are the scariest. I don't know about learning the hard way. We've had our hard moments, and every day is a new. I think I wish somebody would have told me, the advice that I wish somebody would have told me right when she was diagnosed was that this is a constantly changing thing. You are never going to have it under control. You can try your best to manage it, but don't feel bad if every once in a while you see some high numbers or some low numbers that you don't know where they came from. It just happens. And the very first time we went to the endo and he plugged her meter into the computer and we got that graph, I mean, her target zone was here, and it was like a roller coaster. I mean, there was hardly anything that was in the target zone. And I just, put my head in my hands and was like, and he said, Tonya, if she were all in this target zone, she wouldn't have diabetes. That's just the way it is. And it's, you do your best to keep it close to that target, but, that's diabetes. If she were always in the target zone, we'd have to retest her again and see if maybe she didn't have it. But I try not to beat myself up. And same with the A1C. It's been steadily coming down, especially since we started her on the pump. That's been helping. But it's a number, and I just use it as information to say, okay, so I need to tweak these few things and just try a little harder. But, try not to beat myself up too much. It's hard enough. Good. So your final message to the online or diabetic community out there?
My final message is thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, BJ, for having your site and educating people. Thank you for all the bloggers out there. I mean, there's so many blogs that I wish I could read them all. I wish there's only so many hours in the day. But there's so many that have helped me feel like, oh, you felt that too? Like I read these blogs and think, oh, I could have written that. That's the words right out of my mouth. And they make me laugh, they make me cry, they give me information that I didn't. There's so many things I've learned that I didn't, that's where I learned it. The only place I've learned it was from the diabetic online community, sharing their stories, sharing their, experiences. This is what works for me, this didn't work for me. I'm just so thankful to have, like I said, those first 6 months were pretty dark, but once I found, it started with Facebook, and then through Facebook I started hearing about, your site. I heard about all the different blogs out there about to diabetes, all the different D-Life. There's a ton of them.
Exactly.
There's a ton that are there to help us, and we're all there for each other. And when I have a problem and I reach out, that support is like this virtual hug, and I just feel like, okay, there's some people who understand me and who know how hard this is and what it's like to go through this.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Thank you, Tonya, for being on the show and sharing all your thoughts and all your experiences, because this means a lot to the diabetic community out there, and your help and support is always appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It was nice to see you.
And you have a nice day. Hey guys, everyone listening to the show, please go through today's diabetes recipe, diabetes exercise, and also diabetes tip. And you guys have a nice day. And please do leave your comments to make this better.
Thank you. Bye.